Hi, this video is going to be about creating questions in Moodle, both in the question bank and in a quiz. So I'm on the left side under Course Administration again, and Question Bank is near the bottom there. I'm going to go ahead and click that. Okay. It takes me to some options. It takes me right into the question bank, in fact. By default, it would take me into questions. I can set up categories of questions, I can import questions, and I can export questions. And that's kind of nice from course to course if you have some questions. But we're going to focus on the designing of questions manually in Moodle. So let me go to the top of the screen. So you can see that inside this editing window, I have some questions. You can see question 1, and there's no category right now. It's just the default category, and if I wanted to make new categories, I could do that, but I could select questions and move them around. But here's what we're going to do. We are going to create a new question. So if I click that, it gives me a number of different choices. And you can click on any of those and it will tell you a little bit about them. So for instance, if I click on essay question here, it tells me that it allows a response of a few sentences or paragraphs. This must then be graded manually. So let's go ahead and add an essay question. If I want to add that to my question bank, I can just click Next. And it will take a moment. So it wants a question name. So I could call this Super Bowl. And I can put the text of my question. Who won the Super Bowl in 2012 and why? Use 100 to 200 words. So you want to be really specific because otherwise someone could answer it in 5 words or not even use a sentence. Now, there are some other things. The default mark is 1. That's a point. As I go down, you can choose to give some general feedback to them, like thanks for answering the question, or you can even give some information for graders. That would be maybe you have a co-teacher teaching this and you say, we went over this exact answer in class, so be very strict about it, and you could even put the answer in there for the graders, some points, like if you wanted them to include 3 points that they have to have. That's up to you. Tagging questions, especially once your course gets a lot of questions, you might have a tag in this one like sports, if you wanted to for this one, because it's about the Super Bowl, and I might also have essay on here. So I could add a couple tags. You don't need to. And then I'm just going to say save changes right underneath there. Now, it will take me into my questions. And there I can see there's another question, Super Bowl. We'll go into create new question one more time so you can see another question type. There are a lot of these. So let's say I wanted to do a matching question. I'll click that and you can see it says the answer to each of a number of sub-questions must be selected from a list of possibilities. So we'll say next and we'll do a matching. Let's go ahead and call this question states and capitals. If I could spell right. And so we could say match following states and capitals. I think it's ALS, isn't it? The English teacher watching this will correct that for me if I got it wrong. And I can go ahead if I want to put some general feedback. And then if you look here, it says you must provide at least 2 questions and 3 answers. You can provide extra wrong answers by giving an answer with a blank question. So it's kind of nice if you want to be a little tricky with the students. Entries with both the question and answer blank will be ignored. So we'll just add a couple here. we'll say our first question will be, let's see, let's do Minnesota. And the answer there is St. Paul. And it's going to randomize these, so you can see that one there. Here, let's do North Dakota. And we will do Bismarck. Here. Let's go ahead and do another state here. Let's say Wisconsin, and let's say Madison. And you could make this as long as you want, blanks for 3 more choices. It will be a drop-down menu, so you don't want to make it too long. And you can make some feedback for correct responses, partially correct responses. There's all sorts of things. If you set a quiz up to have multiple tries, you can have a penalty for every time they have to retry it. You can give hints, and again, you can have tags here. I might tag this states and capitals. And then I'll go ahead and save the changes. So there's another question that's been created. Okay, I'm back in the course, and I'm going to go ahead and add an activity. I'm going to choose quiz. And we're going to go ahead and build a quiz. So we'll call this quiz delete me, so I remember to do that later. And we can have an introduction if we want. It's up to us. I could just say just do it. And then we already went through a lot of the quiz settings and things, but we're going to go ahead and say at the very bottom, save and display. Okay, it took me back in. Now, if you look, it says no questions have been added yet to this quiz. So I can say edit the quiz. And right here, I could take questions from the question bank. If I wanted to show the question bank, I'll click show there. It takes just a moment. And so I could go ahead and add a couple questions. So if I wanted to add this question and this one, under selected, I can just add them to the quiz. I can even add random questions from a category, so that's pretty cool. If you had 50 available questions and you only want to give students 30 of them, every student is going to get a different group of questions, and it makes for some variety, which can give good accountability and prevent cheating. So if I click add to quiz, it'll take those questions I chose and add them to the quiz. And I can move them up and down. Another thing I can do is I can click to add another page right here, and I can add a new question. So if I choose add a new question, I'm right back to that same little pop-up box I got when I was in the question bank, and so I can create a quiz right on the spot where I can add questions. So basically, if you're creating questions manually, the 2 places to do it are right here in a quiz, or also in the question bank like earlier. So in less than 10 minutes, that's an introduction to manual quiz questions.